learners, welcome back to our educational channel Learn and Educate. We will study about the definition of delegation as given by Millet, wherein this definition is about how it is not just more than simply assigning duties to others, but it is about the essence of delegation lies in the freedom to decide what should be done in a particular situation, what should be done by the others upon whom the discretion is conferred to use their own judgment in meeting specific problems in their life within the frameworks of their duties, and how, while performing the work, while performing the duties, how in the daily course of life, how that individual upon whom the discretion is conferred, how will he or she perform their duty. It is more than simply assigning duties to others. It is more, it is about delegation upon the others, about how to make the judgment by that person, wherein the power to make the decision with respect to a problem, a specific problem, solving a specific problem with of their duties, but within the framework of their duties. Therefore, as per Millet, delegation is the granting of decision making freedom within the defined limits so that the subordinates can use their judgment to solve the problem. It is about how the John D. Millet delegates defines that delegation is not merely the assignment of duties, but the granting of discretion to subordinates to exercise their judgment in solving the specific problems within the limits of their responsibility. It is about giving work, not delegation. Giving work plus authority is a partial delegation, but the true delegation is the giving work, authority, and discretion. Discretion to exercise their judgments to solve the specific problems. How the manager, how the individuals are given. Delegation is not just giving work, it is giving freedom to think and decide within assignment duties, within the assigned duties. It is about delegation is giving discretion plus trusting the judgment. It focuses more on mental authority, not just a formal authority, wherein Millet has defined it in this definition, wherein the part 1 is about delegation is more than assigning duties, and part 2 is about delegation means giving discretion and allowing independent judgments. The decision making wherein independent judgments are made, assign duties plus giving authority, and the third step will be to give discretion. First step is assigning duties, second step is give authority, third step is give discretion, freedom to decide. Fourth step is allow use of judgment. That is true discretion, the delegation. The true delegation means assigning duties plus giving authority plus giving discretion plus allowing the use of judgment. Delegation of authority means giving authority to someone else. Delegation means giving authority. But as per the definition of Millet, it has a deeper importance that this means simply means assigning means responsibility of work, giving the task, giving the responsibility of work. Delegation is not just saying do this work. It is about all not it is only work distribution, but the essence of delegation lies the core, the heart will be about to explaining, to conferring the right, to give, to grant the freedom to choose, freedom to decide, power to judge what is the best. And real delegation is about decision making freedom. It is about you decide whether to approve based on the company rules. The freedom is discretion. That freedom is discretion to subordinate and officials. Delegation always involve a person who is a giver and a receiver. Judgment about the ability to think, the ability to analyze, and the ability to decide wisely. Wherein delegation require trust in the intelligence, trust in the intelligence of subordinates. Without trust, delegation is incomplete. In meeting the specific problems, delegation is not just a random freedom, it is for solving particular issues, for handling real life situations, handling customer complaints, managing local emergency, and approving small expenses. It is about how to solve the real life situations within the framework of the duty. This is a very important, wherein framework means boundaries. Framework means the rules, limitation, the structure, the structural aspect, the organization structure. So delegation gives freedom, but it has within the boundaries, not unlimited freedom, but limited with respect to the structure of the organization, the rules of the organization. It is controlled independence. Independence, but a controlled independence. Thus, the concept of delegation as per Millet is giving delegation involve and means giving subordinates the authority and the freedom to use their own judgment in solving the problems within their assigned responsibilities. It is not mechanical, it is intellectual, it is trust based. When there is a trust between the persons, then only delegation is there. Delegation involves how a freedom to choice, but this is real at the core to grant to give the freedom to choose, and that freedom is discretion. That can happen only it requires trust. Delegation requires trust in the intelligence of subordinate. Delegation can be done with trust. Without trust, it is not delegation. Therefore, judgments, the ability to think and the ability to decide wisely. But the definition of Millet emphasizes more on the trust. Delegation requires trust. Trust by the superior in the subordinates and their intelligence, giving subordinate the authority and the freedom to use their own judgment to solving the problem within their assigned responsibility. This is intellectual and this is trust based, giving task by which says that core meaning is about granting the freedom to decide, independent thinking, and to solving the specific problems and practical issues. It is based on a framework within the framework of the work, that is, it has rules and limitations. Wherein, imagining a district collector delegates authority to a tehsildar, wherein he does not just say handle land dispute, he says you're authorized to decide the land cases up to a certain limit using your own judgment under revenue law. By using the judgment under revenue law, the decision is the decision making power is with the tehsildar to decide the cases up to a certain limit using his judgment within the under the revenue laws. Therefore, now the tehsildar uses discretion, applies judgment, works within the legal framework and of the revenue laws. This is the real delegation, wherein Mooney about how the focus is on the discretion and the judgment. True delegation means giving the work with it authority plus discretion. This is the true delegation, wherein delegation is not merely the assignment of duties, but the granting of discretion to subordinate to exercise their judgment to solve the specific problems within the limits of their responsibilities, and how the freedom to decide what should be done in a particular situations is given upon others so that they can use the judgment to meet the specific problem within the framework of the duties. Delegation is more than simply assigning duties to others. At essence, the crux of the delegation is to confer the decision making power, the freedom to decide what should be done in a particular situation in a specific with respect to specific problem within the framework of the duties. Therefore, delegation is the granting of decision making freedom within the frameworks limits defined so that the subordinate can use the judgment to solve the problems. Delegation stands for granting the authority by superior to subordinate for the attainment of specific assignment, wherein the delegation has the character of it is something which is imparts knowledge, sharing with others, which one possesses the knowledge and you still retain the knowledge too. But delegation is about how the authority, how the work, how the job, how the function is done, and with it, there is a power, the power of decision making, of an action which is based on the judgment, but within the legal framework, within the structural framework, within the framework of the duties of the work which one can perform. Therefore, delegation of authority means more than simply assigning duties to others, which is in more detail, more or less detailed. The crux, the essentials of a delegation is the freedom to decide what should be done in a situation, in a particular situation. It is a choice, and wherein the choice to decide, the discretion upon others to use their judgment in meeting specific problems within the framework of their duties.